Yesterday, we started the review of this chapter, right concentration. We stopped at comparing two similes. One, a child who has just learned to walk, takes a few steps, falls down, gets up, walks some more, and again falls down. Yeah. This is the mind. Let's see. This is the mind in assessed concentration. But the mind in absorption is like a man who wants to walk. He just gets up and walks straight without hesitation. And in the stage of absorption is further divided into 8 levels, each marked by greater depth, purity, subtlety than its predecessor. The first 4 form a set called the 4 jhanas. A word best left untranslated. Just leave it as jhana. But you can loosely render as meditative absorption. The second 4 form a set of immaterial states. These 8 have to be attained in progressive order, the achievement of any later level being dependent on the mastery of immediate preceding level. These are the stock passage from the sutta, textual definition of right concentration. Starts with the first jhana, which have all these factors: initial and sustained application of mind, filled with rapture, happiness born of seclusion. The second factor of jhana, we have to overcome the first 2 factors. Initial and sustained application of mind subsides. Gaining inner confidence and mental unification, he enters into the second jhana. The first 2 factors has disappeared, has subsided at least, but is filled with rapture and happiness born of concentration. The next one, we should overcome rapture in the third jhana. With the fading out of rapture, he dwells in equanimity, mindful, clearly comprehending. This is the third jhana, the last jhana. Pleasure and pain is also abandoned. Disappearance of joy and grief. He enters into fourth jhana, which has neither pleasure nor pain and purity of mindfulness due to equanimity. This marks its right concentration. These paragraphs to come explain further the factors of the jhana. The first jhana has these 5 absorption factors: initial application, sustained application, rapture, happiness, and one-pointedness. Yeah. This paragraph explains that if one manages to attain the first jhana, we are advised to master it. We should not fall into complacency over our achievement and neglect sustained practice. On the other, we should also not be overconfident and rush ahead to attain the next jhana. To master the jhana, he should enter it repeatedly and perfect his skill in it until he can attain it, remain in it. Yeah? This is also important. Not just attain it for like 5 seconds and then never again in the future. Remain in it, emerge from it. Yeah, we should also know how to get out from it. Review it without any trouble or difficulty. Yesterday, I quickly attended kind of like a weekly or every Friday service from BSWA, Buddhist Society of Western Australia. It's available on YouTube. Yeah. Yesterday, Ajahn Brahmali was conducting, and he had a guided meditation before the talks. So one interesting thing is that I think for the last few minutes of the meditation, he asked us to review our meditation. Yeah, like what happens in your meditation, what went well, and what went wrong. Yeah, if it went well, review, examine why it went well. Why do you think it went well? Yeah. If something doesn't seem quite right in your meditation, also review why. Why doesn't it work the way we expected it to be? Yeah. So this reminds me of that. Review it without any trouble or difficulty. Yeah, perhaps you can try it too, if you will. Yeah, after the first jhana, the meditator should consider the attainment has certain defects. Of course, the jhana is far superior to our ordinary sense consciousness, more peaceful and blissful. It still stands close to sense consciousness and is not far removed from the hindrances. The two of its factors, initial application, sustained application, appear in time to be rather close, not as refined as other factors. Then what should one do? We should renew our practice, intend on overcoming these two factors, initial and sustained application. When his faculties mature, these two factors will subside and he enters into second jhana, which now only has three factors: rapture, happiness, and one-pointedness. There are other components as well, multiplicity of other constituents. The most prominent is confidence of mind. In the second jhana, the mind becomes more tranquil, more thoroughly unified, but when mastered, this state seems gross, yeah, because it includes rapture, a factor that inclines to excitation. So the meditator has to again renew his practice, sets out again, this time to overcome rapture. Yeah? If the meditator manages to overcome rapture, he enters the third jhana, which left with two absorption factors: happiness and one-pointedness. And there are some other states comes into ascendancy: mindfulness, clear comprehension, and equanimity. At this level, still the meditator says this attainment is defective in that it contains the feeling of happiness, yeah, which is also gross compared to neutral feeling. Feeling that is neither pleasant nor painful. Then, going beyond the third jhana, he enters the fourth jhana, which is defined by two factors: one-pointedness and neutral feeling. Has a special purity of mindfulness due to the high level of equanimity. And then even after the fourth jhana, still lie the four immaterial states, yeah, the one that Saikyang reads this paragraph. Levels of absorption in which the mind transcends even the subtlest perception of visualized images, sometimes persisting in jhana. The immaterial states here, it says, are attained not by refining mental factors, as are the jhanas, but by refining objects. By replacing a relatively gross object with a subtler one. The four attainment are named after their respective objects, the base of infinite space, base of infinite consciousness, base of nothingness, base of neither perception nor non-perception, the very last stage. These states represent levels of concentration so subtle and remote as to elicit clear verbal explanation. Yeah. Even Bhikkhu Bodhi struggles to explain what these states is like. The last of the four stands at the apex of mental concentration. It is the absolute maximum degree of unification possible for consciousness. But, and here's the punchline, even so, these absorptions reached by the path of serenity meditation, as exalted as they are, still lack the wisdom of insight, and so are not yet sufficient for gaining deliverance. Yeah, I think all our reactions are similar. Work so hard until attain all this concentration, still not yet liberated. Oh, yeah, like has to do some more work. Yeah. Finally, at the last paragraph, the concentration we discussed so far, we fix the mind upon a single object to the exclusion of other objects. But apart from this, there's another kind of concentration which does not depend on restricting the range of awareness. This is called momentary concentration, Kanika Samadhi. To develop momentary concentration, meditator does not attempt to exclude the multiplicity of phenomena from his field of attention. Instead, he directs mindfulness, this is important, to the changing states of mind and body, noting any phenomenon that presents itself. The task is to maintain a continuous awareness of whatever enters the range of perception, clinging to nothing. As he goes on with his noting, concentration becomes stronger, moment after moment, until it becomes established one-pointedly on the constantly changing stream of events. Yeah. Despite the change in object, the mental unification remains steady and in time acquires a force capable of suppressing the hindrances to a degree equal to that of assessed concentration, the one we read much earlier. This fluid mobile concentration is developed by the practice of the four foundations of mindfulness taken up along the path of insight. Finally, when sufficiently strong, it issues in the final breakthrough to the last stage of the path, the arising of wisdom. This paragraph will be elaborated in greater details in the next chapter, the development of wisdom, the very last chapter of this book, excluding the epilogue, the closing. And not the easiest chapter to understand or to digest. And I mean this chapter, right concentration, because probably most of us haven't experienced any of the description. That's one. So, but I think it's still fine to read just for informational purposes, and to prep you for the future. Let's say in 10 years, maybe you become a very great meditator. You dwell in a cave and meditate all day, all night, and then suddenly you recall, oh, this matches the description of the text, then you will find this text useful. Luckily, I read this 10 years ago, so I know what it is. But for now, just read this for informational purposes rather than for practical purposes. Yeah, at least for now. Or maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe all of you have read some of these. Say, Marcel don't know what he's talking about. Okay, anyway, we have 5 minutes left. So any of you would like to add something? Comments or questions?
So, I just want to add on to this concentration, samadhi. I heard from Venerable previously that actually if we want to attain sotapanna, that means the stream winner, we just have to make the third jhana. We have to reach the third jhana, the one that has bliss and one-pointedness. Yeah. From there, that is the wisdom. We should be able to attain the sotapanna. Yeah. So the other levels are more for people who want to attain that calm abiding state. Yeah. I don't know. My aim for this life is at least to become a stream winner. So strive to attain the third jhana. Yeah, but like what you say is good for us to read, because starting with nothing, at least we have some conceptual knowledge of what it's going to be like, and yeah, it gives us a bit of confidence to proceed with what we are doing now.
Okay, thanks again. Yes, I think I've read that not all the levels are required to attain enlightenment. Some of the levels are optionals. But what I also read is that it is much more helpful if you can attain, and much easier for those who can attain the higher levels to break through into insight, into wisdom. Yeah, that's also one. That's a good point. Yeah, and the second point is for informational purposes for now. Another thing that I would like to add, the first time I encountered all this description, it does seem so remote and impossible for me. But subsequently, after some period, I gained some confidence that this is actually possible. How? Why? Not by personal experience, but by testimony of other monks, especially Ajahn Brahmali. He doesn't talk a lot about his own attainment. He doesn't talk about his own attainment, but he does speaks very highly of Ajahn Brahm, that Ajahn Brahm's level of meditative absorption is so high levels. Yeah, he does not reveal which level exactly it is, but the way he speaks so highly of Ajahn Brahm, about his not just his conduct, but also his meditative experience, is so gives me a lot of confidence that all of this, if we practice well, it is definitely possible. Yeah, that's one thing I would like to add. So don't be discouraged by the by the text, by the rigorous steps by steps. Yeah, be inspired by those who can, not just in the sutta, in the present life, there is also some people who is able to attain all these stages. Yeah? Then why can't it be any of us? Okay. Anyone else would like to add? Okay, if not, let's do a dedication. 愿消三障诸烦恼，愿得智慧真明了，普愿罪障悉消除，实是常行菩萨道。Amitabha. Till we meet again, may we be guided by the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Have a blissful Saturday ahead. Thanks everyone for joining again this morning. I'll see you guys next time.